What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream. Happy Sunday. I hope you guys had a good weekend and also good last week. One of the busiest and craziest volatiles week of the year. It all started straight away since we finished the live stream last week, basically with a deal between the US and the Eurozone. We had a big sell-off on the euro. We had a big move on the dollar. And it continued with the Fed also, and then it continued with the GDP. It was another positive news for the market, and then eventually everything turned around with the NFP. Okay, so basically, when you're looking at weekly time frame in euro and the dollar, you can see that it looks like it was about to be a massive bullish weekly candle, and on Friday, basically half of the move at least it was corrected, and price came all the way down. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to look at the news, at the market, what you can expect for next week, maybe a little bit quieter, since we don't really have any major big news aside from the Bank of England on Thursday. And yeah, let's try to see between this all this madness. Did price react from levels that you're expecting or not? Did price break important levels of structure that may open the door for price to move in one direction in the future? That's how we're going to be looking at. So, as always, if you're new, subscribe to the channel. If you're not new, put a like on the video. That would be great. And also let me know in the comments what assets do you want me to look at, so we can look at them together. Just history up in. Great. Okay, so looking at the news. Okay, actually just look at this one. I'm going to show you in a bit, and I just noticed the big turnaround at that we had. Let's just take a look at the next week. Next week's going to be quite. We're going to actually have the services PMI on Tuesday in the US and nothing else. Yeah, so in the US, as you can see, there is no red news aside from that. And of course, obviously, unemployment claims on every Thursday, but that doesn't really move the market, to be honest. So the big one is going to be mostly, again, the Bank of England interest rate decision. Are they going to cut rates? The expectation is yes, 25 basis points lower. So that's what we're going to be expecting. Now let's take a look at last week, because that's the one that matters. So yes, we had quite a busy week. Here you can see that actually the inflation in Australia is actually getting lower, so that's good news. Then we had the GDP. Okay, so GDP was the first point where we actually had better news than expected. We had this expectation of 2.5, it ended up being 3%. So we actually had another push higher on the indices, on dollar in that moment. But all that mattered was eventually the Fed, and that's exactly what the market was looking at. Meanwhile, we had also interest rate decision in Canada. Again, rates stayed the same at 2.75. Now, when you're looking at the Fed, what was the expectation? The expectation was exactly to remain the same. The main question mark from the Fed, as we talked about last week, it was towards what would be the expectation towards September, because the market was anticipated that September would be the first rate cut, but the Fed actually surprised a little bit. It came up more hawkish than expected. More hawkish means that the Fed was not so eager to actually start cutting rates. It was still looking a little bit of a few issues in regards to the inflation. GDP was actually better than expected, so that didn't really put any urgency on the Fed to cut rates. And then the unemployment, for last month, it was also okay at 4.1%. And the inflation was the one that actually was increasing. So, and also the situation with tariffs, that was still some danger in there, some risks that the Fed was more playing, in the sense that let's wait and see, because until the next meeting, which is going to be on the 17th of September, there's going to be still, well, but last Wednesday there will still be 2 unemployments and 2 CPIs. Now, of course, now we have the unemployment, and everything changed on that moment, right? Because we did have the unemployment now on Friday, and it came out worse than expected. And so the question was to be 6, 73, and then not even that, also lower than expected. That shows a little bit more of weakness in the economy. But the unemployment was actually lower, and we reached at a level of 4.2%. So that's when we had the massive move that we had on Friday with the news. Now, this was basically the most important chart of the week when you're trying to understand the dynamics of the market. So basically, unfortunately, you cannot really see it right now because last week that was the expectation. Okay, 61%, basically the ratios here. But after the Fed meeting on Wednesday, actually this one came down to 30%. Okay, and this one actually went up to 60%. Basically, there was a complete change between these two values, and because of that, we actually had then the beginning of the sell-off on the US indices. Okay, so we had the beginning of the sell-off on the US indices on Wednesday. At the end of at the closing on Wednesday, we had a really strong recovery on US indices, but that's because of the earnings announced on Meta and Microsoft, and they were better than expected. And then there was that initial impulse reaction at the end of Wednesday session and a little bit during the Asian session. But then everything kicked in again, like the reality basically kicked in, and actually on Thursday we actually sold off. Not even then Apple or Amazon earnings at the end of Thursday survived. Actually, price just continued to push even lower. Basically, the reality that the Fed will continue to cut rates only maybe in October, or keep the rates at least for one more time and change. But now everything changed. Okay, apparently everything changed over the weekend or after Friday, where actually we have now the reality is that the rate is at 80%, and this is going to continue to move. Okay, I think one of the main reasons that this rate, the odds of this one increased, is because of exactly the low unemployment data that we got. Okay, and also I think is a reaction of the sell-off that we had on the indices. I think this sometimes tends to change a little bit based on the reaction of the indices in the moment, and usually the Fed doesn't really pay attention to it. So I think this level, these odds in here are going to continue to be fluctuating up until the meeting. Okay, so it's going to be quite important, not this week, but week after that, when you have the CPI data. Okay, if the CPI by any chance is higher than expected, most likely this one is going to increase again, and this one is going to decrease. So every single data at this point between unemployment and inflation are going to be a big factor towards what the Fed's going to do. And most likely we're going to have, again, a lot of volatility in both news. Okay, it's kind of a rare event, but actually both of them at this point, they are quite important. And that's why we had the big sell-off on the dollar on Friday as soon as the NFP came out. And that was it. So paying attention to this one is going to be really important, and to see where actually the reality lands. Because again, on Wednesday, the Fed, it was in here. Okay, the likelihood of a cut, it was in here. The likelihood of keeping the rate unchanged, it was in here. And now this is more expectations of reaction of the sentiment in the market, not exactly what the Fed is looking at. So that's going to be an interesting one. Just wanted to mention that part because I think it's important, and we can try to understand exactly what to expect, especially if you're looking more for the US indices. So this is what we have now on the dollar. Okay, so yes. Okay, so on the dollar, if we broke the highs, we continued. That was kind of the expectation, which was exactly that. IKK, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. So that was the expectation. It was exactly to look for that continuation. Price open with the deal between the euro and the US, and we had a big move to the upside on the dollar, big sell off on the euro. And somewhere around this top in here, that will be one of the targets. Price continue, price broke this one, mid-range, continue to the upside, and eventually got to this level. So this was one of the levels that I was looking for a potential reaction. It was either this one in here, or could eventually even spike a little bit higher above these tops and go into that one. Okay, basically that's, as you can see, that's basically where price end up reacting from. Okay, so that was a good level. We also had, basically, if I go a little bit lower in here, you can see how we had this previous level of support resistance as well. So this was a quite important structure that the price just retested, and that's exactly what we had. Hi hybrid, do you think we'll open a higher or? Yeah, that's a 50-50, right? That you can flip a coin and you can try to see. I don't really trade the open as it is, right? That's not exactly what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying more to try to understand if there is a reason for us to maybe continue to look for longs on the dollar if the dollar continues to move a little bit lower, or if this is a valid top and price maybe be ready to actually challenge these lows as we speak. So that's going to be an interesting one. When you're looking at the daily time frame, okay, that's a valid level where price end up reacting. When you do pay attention to this level and to these previous levels of support resistance, I wouldn't be surprised by any chance from here price actually end up taking these lows, because this makes sense to me. And where price actually reacted, it makes sense to me. Based on the bigger picture. Okay, so if you're just looking at these green lines in here, this could be a continuation. But of course, we're going to be playing a little bit more into the lower time frame and not just into this bigger structure in here. But let me know, what do you think? Where do you think that the dollar is going to move towards to? Now, the reality is that actually I started to position myself as a bearish on Friday. I mentioned that in a few places, that I was actually looking for the bearish move on the NFP. I really like the price action that we start having. So we basically you had a strong push to the upside since Monday, and it's not that often that we don't have any type of retracement during the week. We had plenty of news that continue to push price to the upside, and then we start having this compression in here on Thursday, and on Friday eventually we get to also a good level that I just mentioned on the left side. Okay, and you start breaking structure. So this break of structure that occurred in here, that was actually something that stand out to me before the NFP. So yeah, I was actually looking for the short on the dollar pairs, and that's exactly where my bias was. I'm going to mention the trade that I took, which actually is quite funny. I tried to go long on euro dollar, but I'll take a look into that in a bit. But there you go. So we had this massive move down. Yeah, I got 84 points on gold longs. Yeah, hybrid, if you want to share the levels of your trade, we're going to look at gold in a bit. First of all, congrats on your trade, and I hope it continues to go. Where is your target? First of all, where is your target on your trade on gold? So you can maybe look at that, and if you want to share the entry as well, or the thought process for the entry, feel free to do so. What's up, JST? Good morning. Hey Pedro, Abaker style over box are the most important marks in our strategy. I don't even call it order box, but I'll call it more supply demand. If they are the most important, they are quite important, especially the fresh ones. Okay, I want to see fresh levels. So when price is creating something and kind of it drops, I like to see or look for fresh levels. If the price already retraced, touched that level and moved on, then it's not as strong anymore. Maybe now I can start to look for something for the next one. Or if there's still one in here that is fresh, now maybe I'm going to just wait for price maybe to go there before moving to the downside. So yes, I like supply demands, or even support resistance levels, but fresh levels, or even when you are looking at levels of support resistance, this actually may be a good example. Like if you do have a level of, I don't know, let's pretend it's a level of support, the price breaks, okay? basically pay attention to the structure that is created around this level. Okay, so when price actually breaks this level of support, pay attention to what kind of a movement. Okay, after price breaks, what does price do in here? Right, does it create a movement like this and then maybe leaves the supply behind? Does it just creates breaks and goes? Does it goes, comes back and goes? Like, it depends also on what price does. Is there already manipulation around that level that can create a great level to look for a trade in the future? Those are one of my favorite levels. Basically, this is a good example of it. This basic level in here, that you fake out that level, it's basically a Quasimodo that you have around this level in alignment with that higher time frame support resistance. And then this space is trying to identify what direction, what space I'm expecting eventually price to move towards to, which makes it quite important for me as well. And then liquidity goes into a big factor as well. Try to understand the approach, right? So as we're expanding in here, the approach on the dollar, starting breaking some moves, and you have the fake out, and then eventually that starts triggering into potential short. Like, when you have this trigger, you can imagine that people are going to start looking for sales in here. Many people are going to be looking at this level as a break-off structure, right? As a shock or whatever they want to call it. But price doesn't do it straight away, right? Price eventually still fakes out the level and then eventually goes into it. But this is already a trigger that price is starting to slow down or starting to look for sales. Out the compression here as well. So as you can see, basically price is already taking every single demand, and then this one is finally broken, and so on and so forth. Even this one basically already touching it in there. But if you want to go into the extremes, now this one becomes almost the level price retraces. In there. So dollar hybrid. Fantastic. I'm going to save your comment. Okay, I'm going to save your comment, and we are going to be looking at gold in a bit. Okay. Do you want me to trade gold, or do you trade something else as well? Could you please guide in which broker can I trade? Most of them not allowed in the US, and I don't find it in Forex. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not in the US, so I'm not really sure. Like, the broker I use for my personal account is IC Markets, and you can trade gold in there. So in the US, I don't know exactly what restrictions do you guys have for personal brokers. I presume that you could trade gold. Maybe you can trade gold in the futures market. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, share your. Did you got the short on NASDAQ or not? And if you want to share also your buys on NASDAQ, we can take a look at that. Let me just finish with the dollar, and then you can transition into those assets. It's a tricky one now. I think we can. Of course, we may be looking at these walls again eventually. Right now, we basically open all this level in here. Something that we can maybe try to pay attention is if there's anything in between that can hold price. Okay, so is there anything somewhere around here that can hold the dollar, or are you going to just slowly moving to the downside? So I'm going to be curious, maybe within this level, maybe underneath here, if there's going to be any kind of structure that price could bounce from. Yeah, maybe this Davis level. Yeah. So just so you guys know also my style of trading, I like to trade the extremes. Okay, so basically on the dollar index, if I was about to look for any trades in here, and if you guys actually follow a little bit the channel before, there were almost two levels, or only two levels, that I was actually quite interested in looking for trades. And one of them actually, it was when price went below this level, and the other time was actually in here. I basically didn't look for anything else on the dollar. As if I was a trend continuation trader, I think I would have looked for a trade after price broke this level somewhere around here, but I was not. That's not my style of trading. But this could have worked. So yeah, so you know, guys, this is basically what I'm going to be looking for. So when I'm looking a little bit for levels that I want to be looking at, it's going to be the kind of price almost retraces back to this level, or maybe gets a little bit closer in here, unless there's some kind of price action like this. Maybe price breaks these lows and now uses this top as liquidity and maybe something like that, and you may have a move that can lead into there, and you may have a continuation. This could be one of the only continuation patterns that I'll be interested in looking to trade, somewhere around here. This would be something that, yeah, I'll be interested in something like that, especially if you do break a little bit more into here. That maybe shows that price wants to go a little bit lower. Yes, so that's a little bit more of what I'm going to be looking for. Okay, I'm going to try to see how price exactly may bounce in between these levels, and pay attention towards somewhere in here. This for me, it was actually quite clear. The dollar, if you guys have any idea what happened, it was hilarious. I traded. Thanks. So can we say that order blocks are safer than fair value gaps? Open a trade through trend direction according to yourself. That's a good question, right? That's Jimmy. That's a good question, right? The question between order blocks or supplies and demands and fair value gaps. I like to trade the order blocks, call it like that, okay, and not exactly the fair value gaps. Like let's call it that this is a fair value gap. Let's call it that this maybe is a fair value gap in here, like in the middle, in the mix of maybe between this top and that level, or maybe this was already fair value gap and price already bounced from there. Yeah, let's call it like this. Let's call it that this is the fair value gap in here, and maybe someone would sell around this level. Yes, I'll be looking more for trades within this zone or within that level, and not exactly in the middle. However, the only way that I may be looking for trades kind of in between these two levels is if there was a level in here on the left side that it was maybe a demand zone and price just ignore it, and I can use that one as a kind of a flip zone that it would make sense to me. That way I might trade that as a... But again, I'm not really trading just because it's a fair value gap. It's actually because there's maybe a level that was ignored on the way down. Price should have bounced it didn't. Price just broke it, and there's a high probability that on the way back, price will react from it and maybe continue to push to the downside. So that will be one of them. Or the other level, or the other way that I will do it is if there is maybe a clear kind of double top or something like that, and I have I'm really convinced that price still wants to go lower, and in this case now price just comes here, just takes to that level. In this case, I'm not really... I still like to see this level reacting from something important on the left, but I could not make it that much of a deal and try to look then for the trade like somewhere in here. Okay. Yes, that will be a little bit of what I'll be looking for. The way I actually look maybe at the fair value gaps is maybe as direction. If I see price breaking an important level of structure and going maybe into a fair value gap, I look at that as a break of structure, and that maybe price wants to continue to go into that direction. And it may not happen immediately. Immediately, maybe price actually goes down, but maybe in the future, that's the direction that I'm going to be looking for trades. If price respects the level, then the space is not there anymore. Yeah, I hope I actually managed to explain that. I personally use the blocks and key levels to trade. Yeah, that's great. Me too. But I also hold my trades for a bit longer, like around a few hours at a time, or maybe sometimes a day or two. Yeah, we are on the same hybrid. We are on the same page on that one. We are definitely on the same page. Can you... Oh my god, is this guy the same one? I'm just laughing because there's someone in another channel that I usually live stream that has exactly the same picture of Leonardo DiCaprio, and that's just super hilarious, that picture. Oh my god. What's up, Kotesco? Guys, press the like button. Since you guys are here, just press the like button. I do not I do not use fibs. Okay, that's actually something that I don't use. Many people use it. It's totally okay. If that's something that you like to use, just to give it a little bit more structure, that's totally fine as well. Yeah, you can use it. Guys, okay, so if you want me to look at the gold, before I look at gold, keep sharing. What is your analysis? Okay, what are you looking at? Are you looking in the time frame? Is it 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever it may be? Of course, we are looking today more into higher time frame stuff, but you can go as detailed as you want. And the direction, okay? Are you looking for longs? Are you looking for shorts? What are you looking at, okay? So we already have hybrid. That share is set up on gold, so I'm going to look at it. And Koketsu, you can also share maybe your idea. And Jimmy, keep asking the good questions. I think you're asking great questions, to be honest. And I would like to know what you think about for very gaps and the order block for you. So yes, I think you can move on the dollar. I think I'm going to wait actually for the opening, see how price actually reacts. Maybe tomorrow, since we had such a strong bearish day on Mondays, it tends to be more of a continuation day, to be honest. And then maybe if there's any kind of a little bit of a retracement, that may happen on Tuesday, especially because we don't have any big news unless Trump comes up and says something that moves the market. Otherwise, I'm expecting maybe more of a continuation. Maybe price can retest something in here, and we can have a little bit more of a continuation setup on the dollar. But since you guys are asking, okay, guys, and before we go into gold, let's just look at euro dollar, because dollar and the euro is kind of quite correlated. Now forget about it, because I have a few things to talk about euro. Let's jump into gold. What is gold? Gold. Okay, what's your take? Okay, let me just look at your trade. Just block this one. Oh, this is actually locked. Okay, so I bought, one second. I bought gold when it went down to 2275. Okay. How did you buy it? Did you kind of just buy limit? Did you wait for any confirmation? Or you just literally looking for this price to come close to this level and you just bought it to 2275? Okay. Wait, 2275. Where was your stop loss again? At target previous resistance at 335, 336, 335. You got your target already. What is the resistance in here? Because gold previous also bounced from 3277. Yeah, you can see. Okay, I think I can see what you mean. You're looking at these levels in here, right? Where price kind of bounced before. Yeah, that's a good entry. Nothing to say about it. There you go. Gold holding this level. I was not really giving that much importance, to be honest, at this level in here. But nicely done. Good entry. Nothing to say about it. If that was your entry, that's a great entry, to be honest. And I think it can continue. Why not? Why wouldn't this continue to go a little bit higher? Yeah, this is maybe one of the first levels that maybe price can bounce a little bit, but it could go a little bit higher in here. Now, what happened in gold is that we didn't really open space. Okay, so what I would have preferred to have seen is actually maybe gold breaking, maybe gold that could have broken these lows, start open door to go further down, and then could have done that retracement to maybe to go down. But the reality is that gold continues to be stuck at around this level. Basically, you have these lows in here, and you have those tops in there. Okay, this one in here is not my trade. I took that trade in there. This one is another trade from another trader that kind of marked in there. I'll keep it just to keep track of the involvement of the trade. Yeah, so there's not exactly any new space being created on gold where I look at it. So this starts to become this starts to become literally a bigger range right now. May have a reaction. Price may bounce. Just as you mentioned, maybe price can bounce from this 3,377 or something like that. Maybe can retrace back to this level in here. Maybe can even look at the same type of structure that we have in here. Sometimes price likes to be symmetrical, and who knows what's going to happen around this level. That's going to be something to look for. 1 second. I waited for consolidate a little bit at 3277, 3277. Okay. And then I saw the market was getting pushed back. I bought at 3275 and put a stop at 227. You're courageous. Not even below the low. You guys are unbelievable. It's because there was a low in here? No, there's not even a low in here. Check your entry. Yeah, you're courageous. Okay, so what you saw price kind of breaking above it. What when it broke above this level in here, then you decide to buy. Yeah, maybe I would have done it. Why at least not pressing your stop below this level? 6-7. Come on, man. At least protect this wall in here. Yeah, that's a good entry. Good confirmation. Good entry. Come on, man. Place your stop in here. It's true. The price just moved. The price could have done this. But there you go. You already had this triple bottom in here. Yeah, good entry. Really good entry. And there you go. How did you manage your trade, by the way? When you saw price making this move back, how did you manage your trade? Did you already had placed your supposed to break even? Had you taken any kind of profits, maybe or somewhere in there? Because if that's your entry, this is already what kind of risk reward are you looking at in here at least? Yeah, you're already close to 4 to 1, 3.5 maybe. Yeah, you're even placing here, so this is actually almost a 5 to 1 by now. So how did you manage your trade? Or you didn't do anything, you just let price move and then... High five, man. So you re-enter the trade? That's a good one. That's a good one, Hybrid. Good job. So you bought twice then? You got a second one. Now this is 3 AM in the morning. No, you're not awake at 3 AM. You may have bought it in here again. You didn't buy it in here for sure. That's 3 AM in the morning. You're not awake at that time, unless you are in the Asian session. Did you got in here again? Is that what you mean? Come on, you didn't buy it there. Okay, I presume you may have bought it in here after seeing price kind of holding this level and going. I presume you did something like that. But this one in here was still a full trade? Were you still full open, this trade? Were you still holding your target towards there, eventually? $3,290, $3,2... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm correct. Yeah, it's somewhere around here. Yeah, after the London Open. Yeah, that's a good... You are entering in the right moment. So basically what you are looking at... let me just... reduce this a bit. It's maybe because it's one on top of the other. Okay, got it. Yeah, basically you are looking for that... you are looking for that range, and as soon as it breaks... You are going into it. Yeah, I also think, yeah, good one. Now, fantastic. That's really good. That's really good. So you capitalize on, yeah, great risk reward. Did you move? Yeah, just another question. Maybe you did it. Did you move your stop loss to break even just before the news or not? Like, did you protect both trades to break even? A couple, like a few minutes before the news. Genuine question. Jimmy, if the compression doesn't go parallel straight, but for example goes one up, 1 second. If the compression doesn't go parallel, right, but for example goes one in the up or down direction. Hold on a second. Guys, I'm more of a visual person. Let me try to, Jimmy, let me try to visualize. If the compression, okay, compression. You mean about this? Yeah, I need. But for example, goes on the up or down direction. Yeah, I don't understand that part. You take that also as an overblock. Yeah, I need to. Jimmy, can you rephrase your question? Can I mean this? Not entirely sure. But I mean, if all this is for me an order block. So if all this for me is an order block, is that your question? Yeah, call it compression. Yes, that's true. So you mean like from the base of the compression till the top of the compression till price explodes, whatever? If I call this an order block. Or the opposite? Yeah, now when you have it, literally, it's going to depend on the time frame that you are looking at. For example, if this is on the, if all this movement is on the 5 minutes time frame or 1 minute time frame, and then you have this explosion, okay, you may have two levels in here, okay? So we have maybe this red one. This red one, when you look at it on the 4-hour time frame, I think it's going to look like an order block or a demand zone, okay? Or on this time frame, on the green one, when you look at this may be the extreme. Let me just select maybe another color. This may look the extreme, the blue one. Okay, so you can like eventually, and depending on the time frame that you're looking at, you are going to have one order block inside of the other order block, or demand inside of the other one. Okay, now what eventually this is going to end up happening is that like eventually when price comes and if it breaks below this level, there is a high probability that price will go back to the extreme of this level. Okay, but that's a different story. But in terms of this being created as an order block eventually, yes, it can, but depending on the time frame. Okay, so when you're looking at the 4-hour order block or a daily order block, if you then start going into the lower time frame, you're going to see different price movements within the 4-hour order block. Actually, usually there are 3 zones within the order block that matters to me. Okay, there is the extreme in here. There's maybe the one that actually managed to break that level, and then there is the extreme at the base. There are actually 3 levels that matter to me. Usually, sometimes this one may be aligned with this one on the same level. Yeah. I hope I... Did I answer your question? Do you think the market is making head and shoulder pattern on the 15 minutes time frame? Do you mean about the gold? Let's see a gold in here. $15 time frame. Do you mean this? Do you mean this move? Is this what you mean? What you mean? Or should I zoom in a bit more? Should I zoom in a bit more? Yeah, in here there's nothing. Oh, these were good trades. Yeah, I don't. It can like I don't really call this. I wouldn't call this a head and shoulder, or I'm more of a Quasimodo guy, but I wouldn't call this a head and shoulder. Yes, you may have some previous structure here that price can respect it. Again, the big question is did price break structure with this wall? That will be the question I'll be making. Okay, but price breaking kind of these walls in here. Did it broke structure? Does it kind of this wall? Does it show intention to continue to move lower? I'm not entirely sure. At this point, we had literally this top and we had basically this wall. Okay, kind of this structure. And price is respecting basically the extremes. It respects this extreme in there, and kind of now it respected this extreme in here. Everything else in between, it doesn't really matter to me that much. Seeing price breaking that, it doesn't really matter as much, especially when you're looking into this bigger picture. Of course, it matters maybe when you break TCS, maybe you want to go to the next level, but it's more intraday setup, more opportunities like that. So yeah, I could see price maybe having a bounce in here. I'm not going to really call this. I don't want to call this a head and shoulder or a Quasimodo. Okay. When I look for patterns like that, I want to see them in levels that are so obvious that that's a pattern. Sometimes one of the problems is trying to identify those patterns such in a messy level, in a messy zone, that's going to make it super confusing and difficult to understand. This is a Quasimodo. Okay, this at the top is a Quasimodo in here. Okay, so that's basically actually kind of a similar entry that you had at the shorts, I had at the top. This is literally a level. Price has a left shoulder, price fakes out, price breaks the low. Okay, that's basically a move like this. You sell it somewhere around here. So that's basically the move you had in there. Okay, we had also one on NASDAQ, just at the top. Okay, so those are the patterns I want to see, and I want to see them at the top. I want to see them most likely reacting from something important on the left side, which is also potential Quasimodo, not exactly, but you do have this left shoulder. Yeah. Okay, so if price starts going a little bit higher than this, there's a high probability that can maybe get eventually to that level, and we'll see what will happen afterwards on gold. Is silver also recovering? Yeah, silver is recovering. Yeah, they can recover. Yeah, we'll see about silver. Yeah, we'll see. Not really eager to take anything on silver right now. Price may have created an range in here. Valid supply. Yeah, basically price reacted from that level. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Quasi. Yep, quasi. Yeah, I know. Victor, to be honest with you, Victor trades it slightly different than me. Okay, as Victor trades it slightly different than me. There is a he still considers some quasis without me actually considering a quasi anymore. Trading box, what's up? It's okay. Tell me what pairs are you looking? We jump into gold straight away because everyone here was asking for gold. I think we need a good catalyst to push higher next week. Yeah, I think price is going to slow down a bit. I think price may slow down a bit unless there's some big news. But after such a big week that we had, I think price is going to slow down. Yeah, it may continue a little bit more with the momentum on Monday, and then, well, I'm not really sure about gold, but at least on the dollar, I may expect a little bit more of a move to downside, and then price may start to slow down. Yeah. So let's just look at oil as well. So because oil now is coming back down once again, it hasn't really reached kind of the top in there. Yeah, let it come back into here. It's a little bit of a messy chart, oil, to be honest. A bit of a messy chart. I've been waiting for oil kind of to take these lows and eventually look for longs. That never happened. End up missing this long. Now, and I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not really touching oil at this point. Let's go back to the dollar. Okay, so that was the dollar. Okay, we think we agree on that. Part. Let's look at euro index. Okay, so euro index basically did what we wanted. It was such a pity that move started overnight. So it came all the way down, basically now to react from this previous important structure that we had around here. So the question basically is, and you can see how euro actually finished quite strong on Friday. It was starting to slow down a little bit, but actually had a really strong finish of the session. Now the question is there anything in here that price can still respect? For example, maybe this demand zone that should have been respected to the downs, should have been respected up and didn't. It may create a little bit of a move. Again, they're not exactly my favorite setups just like that. I need to see a little bit more of intentions to that price wants to start slowing down. But you may have price finally bouncing a little bit and then going a little bit higher as well to eventually get closer to this top. So yes, this is something to pay attention. Again, the move was quite aggressive to the upside. Price may actually even left something in here behind to pay attention in the future, or even a little bit further down. Yeah, but this was an interesting move. So yes, who knows if this euro index does want to go there. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, something to keep an eye on. 1 second, just look at this one. Okay, this is the extreme. Yeah, price just reacted from that one. Okay. Okay, the 5 minutes is visible and 30 minutes is not. See, here on the 30 minutes, price already basically fake out this level. Okay. Yeah, nice. Okay, so we'll see where euro index is going to go. Let's take a look at euro. Euro dollar. Jesus. Guys, actually, let me just bring this one instead, because this is where I actually do my analysis. Euro dollar. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I was actually bearish just before the NFP. I mentioned like 1 hour and a half before the NFP that I was someone that I was actually looking for. I was looking for sells on the dollar, longs on the opposite pairs, and this was my trade. This was my ridiculous trade on the euro dollar. I had a few options. Okay, so I was looking for a potential long on the Aussie dollar, potentially pound dollar, but I didn't look at pound dollar because we never took the low. I was looking at euro dollar. I was looking at dollar CAD for potential short. No, dollar CAD actually it was not my favorite. Dollar franc Swiss for the short or dollar yen for the short. Okay. Of course, I didn't want to completely expose myself just before an FP, so I picked one, and I picked euro dollar. I picked euro dollar to actually take the trade. One of the reasons for that is because the euro dollar usually in terms of spreads, they even if there is a little bit of slippage, I mean, if the spreads get a bit wider during the news, euro dollar usually is the one that's going to keep the spreads tightest. So I picked the euro dollar, and yeah, so I noticed that price was starting to slow down. So that was initially my bias as well. So price was definitely starting to slow down in here. We managed to take out these lows, and when looking on the left side, I noticed that we were on a weekly time frame. We were actually reacting from an interesting level. It's basically this one. Okay, this is actually kind of a fresh kind of demand zone on the weekly. On the lower time frame is not so clean, but actually when you go into the lower time frame, it was actually kind of a nice little demand zone. You can actually look at it. I like that. Yeah, so this is actually kind of a nice demand zone that that was in alignment exactly with that weekly and where price was reacting. Now, what happened is that I opened the trade. It was not exactly a trigger for me to open the trade, but what I mean is that I didn't really see any really important trigger. But what I saw was I opened my trade somewhere around here, right? This was already around 10 minutes before the news, 15 minutes. That's usually kind of where the time that I like to open the trade. I opened my trade somewhere around here level. Oh yeah, I think somewhere in here. And yes, I was that greedy that I placed my stop loss just below this wall. Okay, so basically I had my entry somewhere around here and I had my target somewhere, or my stop loss just literally below this wall. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, so basically I got literally stopped out a couple of minutes just before price jumped. The funny thing is, the euro dollar, it was actually the only pair of the dollar pairs that I was looking for. Okay, looking at the pound dollar, looking at Aussie dollar, looking at dollar franc Swiss. Okay, looking at dollar yen. Every single one of these, they hold destruction. And the euro dollar was the only one that actually made this small fake out of the low and then exploded. Yeah, that was F up. So yeah, I just literally got stopped out in there just before price exploded to the upside. Yeah, so high five to me. Now, what can we look at on the euro? Let's just jump into here. What's your bias for NQ and S? Yeah, I'll take a look at that in a bit. It's hard to determine its support levels. Yeah, I'm going to hybrid. I'm going to look at it in a bit. Let's just look at the dollar pairs first. So this one, does it make sense for us to continue to push higher on the euro dollar? When you're looking at the bigger picture, in my opinion, I don't really think this is the top. Okay, I think eventually price may wants to get closer to this 1.2 on the euro. No, that doesn't mean that's going to happen now. Price may still react and just push lower. Okay, this may be, I don't know, end of the year or whatever it may be. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to happen, because when you're looking now at this level, price may still find something in here that can still hold price to the downside. Of course, we do have still maybe something in here, or more importantly, maybe something in the mix. Price, for example, could continue now to push a little bit higher, but then it's going to find something somewhere. I'm not really sure where at this point, that maybe can continue to try to push price lower. Because on the other side, yes, this was a weekly. If you are looking just at 2 weekly time frames, and yes, price reacted from that level. That's a valid one. But now maybe we do have that one, and maybe price have all this structure in here as well. So that's going to be interesting to see what kind of reaction you're going to have from that level, and if prices want to go a little bit further down. We did manage to break a weekly low, which can start opening doors to go a little bit further down as well. So that's going to be interesting. Again, I think it's one of those situations I need to wait a little bit more before I actually take any decision. I think I need price to convince me where actually wants to start slowing down and to potentially turn. So ideally, I would like maybe to see price pushing higher tomorrow, and then depending on where price is on Tuesday, we may have a little bit of a push to downside. Yes, that's a little bit of what I would like to see. Do I like anything in here? I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe price may wants to go all the way there. Price reacted from it in here. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but it never took. Actually, dollar yen never reached my level. Dollar yen never reached my level, because the level I was looking for actually was a little bit higher. I was looking in here. I was already looking for. I like the level where price was reacting on the left side. I like the level that price was reacting back close to these tops. So that was something that I liked. But then I was actually still looking for dollar yen to get this zone. So I was looking for price to do this. So dollar yen, even if I had placed the order, I wouldn't really get filled in there. But yeah, nice breakdown. But yeah, let's look first at the pound and then we continue. So pound dollar, yeah, this was the one. Pound dollar I didn't really want it because price never really took this low. I was looking to see if price will take this low before moving to the upside, and I was already looking a little bit further down for that reaction. But price actually ended up respecting the low, and can you see how pound actually respected, right? I may as well have taken a trade somewhere in here. I would have survived this move. There you go. Unfortunately, I didn't. Yeah, so this was actually one that I didn't really look for. What's up? Welcome. How was your week? How was your weekend as well? How are you? Rija Mohan. So, guys, keep pressing the like button. Where is the pound going to? I still think that pound could go and take these lows. Okay, we can see that pound is not as strong as the euro. at least on that move. This week we are going to have Bank of England, so I think it's going to be an interesting pair to trade eventually pound because of the Bank of England. There is extra volatility on that on this asset, and I still like the idea. I still like the idea that price can go and take this double bottom. Now, price may want to go higher. Yep, price wants to go higher. We do have this zone, previous level support resistance in here that maybe price wants to eventually go there. So that's definitely a possibility. Yeah, that's maybe one of the first levels where I'll be, by any chance, interested in looking for short, especially if price. What's going on with this drawing? Yeah, no clue what's going on. Oh well. Yeah. Daily time frame. Yeah, may have some reaction in there. Yeah, but price never took these lows. So I'm going to actually be quite curious to see what will happen. I'm not really interested in trading anything in here. That's not my style of trading. The price already got close to this. Made a few dollar bearish. Last week, were you selling the dollar? You did well. The euro, I mean. Yeah, you did well then. You did well. Yeah, at this point on the pound, I need to see what eventually happen. Yeah, maybe waiting for price to get a little bit closer to here, seeing how price may eventually is going to react as soon as it takes this double top as well. That's going to be interesting. We may have a continuation a little bit, so that's going to be an interesting thing to look for. Yeah, let's just finish with that one. Euro pound, I think this one's going to continue to be quite interesting. This was a really nice move. Okay, this was a really nice move that we had on the euro pound, which was once again overnight. Price came all the way, so basically fill out the space into this structure, respect the structure, and now it's going all the way back higher. Now we did manage to take this top, okay, and we are reacting really close to that level. So that's going to be interesting to see if there's going to be any more selling pressure still close to this level. I think it could be, okay. The way price moved to the downside in here, it was quite aggressive with the opening. This is actually kind of an interesting weekly candle. Oh, that's nice. This price basically came all the way down just to finish almost really close to the opening. What a reaction from this level. Really interesting. So yes, we'll pay attention to see how price and the euro pound may approach to this level. We may have a little bit more of a selling pressure. We can even fake out first. These stops, and only after that try to find new bearishness. Price starts to slow down, as you can see, but may just respect and continue to push higher. So that's going to be one to pay attention. Of course, you do have this structure in here that maybe price can react from. Yes. Now it didn't really manage to break structure, at least the way I look at it. It may have managed to break below that level, but this was the important one. If we had broken this, that's a different story on the euro pound. But I think euro pound this week, I think is going to continue to create or to be an interesting pair to trade. We have seen plenty of volatility this last week. and I think it's going to continue. Yeah, you did well, man. What is your take for this week? What are you expecting? Aussie dollar. There you go. Aussie was the other one. Okay, so he never took the vote. He never took the goddamn vote, and it exploded. Oh well. Yeah, it was reacting also, approaching. If you're on the lower time frame, maybe you can see it a little bit more. Where price actually was reacting from. Can you see this beauty? That's exactly where Aussie was reacting. Okay. Similar to the euro dollar. Quite similar to the euro dollar, to be honest. What did you have also on the Aussie that started to attract my attention to look for shorts, for longs? We had broken this structure, and then we had broken this structure as well. So that was another reason that for me that I was a little bit more towards, or starting to think that maybe price was ready to go to the upside, because we started having some breaks of structure. We have definitely trapped people into thinking that price wants to go long from here, but it doesn't. Price still fakes out that level, it still takes stop loss off of you guys, and then there you go. And then you had the explosion, and basically price may have got really close already to potential target, which is somewhere around and there, at least to the next structure. So yes, this is an interesting one. So the move that I was looking for, again, I decided not to take it, not to expose myself too much. This would have been a great trade, to be honest. What's next? Yeah, wait and see, basically. Wait and see. As price wants to respect this level and start pushing higher, or price will just maybe respect something in here and eventually continue to push even lower, eventually maybe closer to this walls. Maybe this could be more of a better approach, to be honest. So I want to see how price may react closer to that zone. Second, because I never set up alerts in here. EURUSD is basically doing the opposite. This is on. Yeah, EURUSD, I'd like it to go higher, and then yeah, I wanted to see somewhere in here or even higher. This was a nice fake out as well. It's a nice fake out into this structure. But structure in there as well. Yeah, it's a nice move. Nice move on EURUSD. Price can go higher. First, we'll see here. Jumping into the N pairs. Just 1 second before I do that. NQ. Okay, we're going to look at NQ. I need to check first a few of the pairs. NQ usually is more in the end. Okay, but before I go to the N pairs, let's look at NQ. NQ is basically selling. Well, it's getting closer to the target. So the target I'm looking for is this one. Okay, or at least below this wall. So that's one of the targets that I'm potentially looking for. At this point, we are talking about a drop already at 4.4%. That takes us into close to 5% in here. Okay, so within this structure, that would go into 5%. I think it can go there. Looking at the VIX, yeah. So we had another spike on the VIX. So that's something that, yeah, once again, price kind of touched a little bit of this 14 something and it just spiked. This was actually kind of a nice reversal pattern in here as well. Okay, so basically we have to fake out, price goes, bounces, and goes. So yes, having a VIX at this stage, definitely that lead into US indices then dropping. And yeah, we'll see if price eventually closes in here this gap, that will mean that the US indices are going to go up in that moment. So that's something to be aware of. So yes, NASDAQ, I see it going eventually close to that target. So I kind of would be surprised if price eventually starts retracing completely without first maybe taking this low. Okay, even if it doesn't really go all the way to the extreme here, at least maybe take that low and go higher after that. That would be the minimum that I'll be expecting in here on NASDAQ. The move by itself, it was amazing. It was literally amazing. It's actually maybe worth studying the move that happened in there. Okay, and you do have that quasi-model that I kind of described on gold, on the euro. I don't even know which pair was it. Yeah, big sell-off. Then price just continue. We definitely have maybe some structure in here to look at to see if price still wants to hold that level or not. We already had an initial reaction from the supply as well. So yes, do we have a double bottom? No, I don't think we have a double bottom at this point, but you do have that that structure there a little bit lower, and that would be my level that I'll be aiming for. Yeah, I would definitely like to potentially see price getting closer to this walls. Yeah, there's a lot of support at 680. Yeah, price is bouncing from there. You mean about around this level? Okay, so that's exactly what you mean. I wouldn't be surprised if it opened higher and start grinding. No, it's possible. It's possible. I would kind of be surprised if price would do a full reversal, potentially without coming and taking some of these levels. Now we already took this low and we kind of already fake out slightly that one. I would definitely like to see price maybe going below this level. So even if you consider this structure, maybe that one that never really touch it, and then you can even look at a little bit lower. So, but you can open slightly higher. Okay, definitely can. This is maybe actually a good demand zone where price already reacted, but we'll see. Yeah, maybe start tracking people into buying in here, just so you can make one last quick move, a bit deeper into taking that low, and then go. Yeah. In terms of earnings, I'm not really sure if there's anything that's going on this week. Of course, there's going to be more earnings, but I'm not really sure if there's any big one. I think the big one's already gone, except from what's the name? Nvidia, which is way later on. Looking at the S&P, it's basically the same thing. Is it got close to the target? Yeah, this one actually already got a little bit also closer to this potential target initially, but then it can even continue further down if it wants to. But but yes, it's reacting. It's reacting now from this demand zone to basically Quasimodo. In here, we have this strong level of support, fake out, and we already had a reaction, to be honest. So we already reacted from it. Price went up and basically reacted from the next level. So trading levels to levels, this one already reacted from both sides. So we'll see if you don't need to take this low before trying to find new buy orders. Maybe the bigger picture can even go all the way here, which takes us close to the, if not mistaken, close to the previous all-time high. So it's going to be interesting if price does want to have or has intention to get a little bit closer to something in here. We also have Palantir and AMD earnings coming on Monday. Is it? Sorry. So we do have Palantir and AMD. Okay, I didn't know. Sorry, so I said that without even reading your comments. So sorry about that. Let's just try to see what earnings it can. Now, this was quite an interesting one in terms of the earnings, right? Because what we had was, especially on Wednesday. Wednesday was a really good one because we had the big sell-off during the FOMC meeting, but then we had Facebook and Microsoft with really strong earnings, and prices completely did a U-turn, reversed, end up closing higher. But then the reality kicked in, right? The reality was at this point, September hold rates. Okay, so it remains, and price finally just realized it. It started moving down. Somewhere around here we had Apple and Amazon earnings. Again, those were not as strong as Facebook or Meta and Microsoft. These two companies are actually way ahead in terms of AI than Amazon and Apple at this point, or at least the strategy that they've implemented and what they are doing with it. And then we just had the continuation, right? We just had the continuation, and eventually with the NFP, you continue to move even lower. So at this point, basically one of the main catalysts that has managing to push these indices to the upside has been AI. Okay, it has been literally AI that has been business intelligence, artificial. Okay, that has been pushing price to the upside. Either Nvidia, either Meta, either Microsoft, whatever it may be. Is that still going to be the case or continuation? Now, everything changed because now the probabilities for the rate cut, so things may have changed now since the NFP. That's going to be an interesting one. Where is the market looking at this as good news are bad news, and bad news are good news? For example, the lower NFP that we had, that's kind of bad news, okay? In theory. But this bad news may actually force the Fed to start cutting rates. So actually this bad news may actually end up being good news in the long term. And that's a little bit how the market tries to dissect the information, the news that are being played in here. Because the market, I believe, just like Trump, actually wants to see those rates decreasing. I believe that. So yes, S&P a little bit similar to NASDAQ. Of course, S&P may be already, actually both of them are actually into interesting levels of potential support. This one I literally would like to see it going a little bit further down. This one eventually could go a little bit further down in here, but this is not a bad level for price actually to try to find some bullishness. And if you take a look at the Dow just continues as well, completely selling off, and they're approaching out this level where we can find a little bit of buying pressure. Yeah, this was quite interesting. Price just literally fake out the top and it sold off. Yeah, DAX as well. DAX approaching the target of this move. So basically filling finally this range. We have been almost breaking some kind of lows somewhere in here, but now finally filling this range in the bigger picture. So we may find a little bit of a buying pressure in here at least, and then we'll see what will happen next. And the FTSE 100 as well may come a little bit closer to these levels. Yeah, what do you think about Trump saying that the job data was faked? That's finally, that's a funny comment. Like anyone that has paid attention to NFP has noticed that. Basically, what he means is every single data that comes out, it comes up with a revision. Oh, hold on a second. I actually just now realized this. So it came down from 147 to 14. That's absolutely various. It's quite easy to see. Okay, basically what you can look at is every single data as this triangle. This triangle means revision. Okay, and usually the revision gas actually goes lower. So the data that you have, not forecast, kind of the final results, it goes back into being much worse. This is missing a 4 in here. It's not 14. Is this 14? This is crazy. This go 147 to 114. That's crazy. So yes, that's one of the problems with the NFP, is that the way they calculate the data is quite tricky, and it's not even maybe the only source of information that they data that it's not the only source of data that they collect that they are paying attention for the unemployment. I think there's even more data that they are looking at least the Fed are looking at, but it takes time to gather it. So saying that the data is manipulated, that has been kind of a big question mark. You can see even before the election, as Trump mentioned, like every single one of them, it was 272. This one is 2018, 218. This one was 206. This 179. Okay, so this one was 114. Is 89. So it's basically every single one of them are being revised to the downside. Okay, every single look at this number. So it becomes a bit tricky even to trade the real number, because almost guaranteed that the next month that data is going to be revised. How do they fix that? I'm not really sure. Even the Fetcher Powell last Wednesday, he mentioned that there are some issues with the data that they're getting from the unemployment. I don't remember now. I don't recall the exact comment he mentioned, but someone asked him a question about unemployment and the data, and he answered it. But now is a little bit with a doubt of what the exact data is that they have at this point, because of the different sources where they collect it. Yeah, it's usually below 50, but it has periods, Jimmy. It has periods. Okay. Now the reason it has periods is not because kind of my system itself, is that because sometimes I may force some trades that I shouldn't force. Okay, I may have still the tendency every now and then to start looking at, let's call it B trades, something that's not exactly A+ setups for me. And those B trades, they usually tend to reduce a little bit my winning ratio. I do take those B trades when I do have maybe a little bit more time to look at the market and try to trade more in the middle. Okay, well, consider middle range. But if I just look actually at my A+ setups, yeah, the rate is actually, the win ratio is actually higher than the 50%. Yeah, and then the other situation is that I may need 2 attempts to get it right. Okay, so basically you can almost separate it between the level that I want to trade. Okay, let's pretend I want to trade from this level, but then maybe I try already to trade from here, stop loss somewhere in here. Kind of I usually just protect the previous high, and instead of price already dropping from here, nope, still get stopped out, and then it goes on me afterwards. And maybe now I take the trade from here, so I may lose the first one, I may win the second one. The second one is going to overcome the loss from the first one, so you almost can consider this is one setup that I'm looking at, but in reality it's basically one loss, one win, okay, together. But I can consider this just as a one setup kind of a trade, because this was the level that I wanted to take a trade from. Usually I give myself 3 attempts to get the trade. If I'm constantly getting wrong on the first and the second one, I need to kind of eventually revise a little bit. If it's a bit of FOMO, like what's the reason I'm jumping into a little bit too early on the trade? Yes. The idea is to get, if not the first, at least the second one. Yeah, so there's different ways to analyze the data if you want to look at it with more precision, with more information, and everything else. But yeah, but some of my losses, to be honest, or the reason for my winning ratio get a little bit lower is when every now and then I kind of have 2-3 losses in a row of trying to force something that's maybe still not there. But that has been reducing quite a lot. Yen. Okay. Passion. Patience. Yeah, not exactly. I'm actually patient, to be honest. I'm actually a patient person. I'm taking much less trades than I usually take. I'm actually quite a patient person. It's more of sometimes I get triggered if I start seeing price going a lot to the upside after a few days. It gets to a point where I may start. Yeah, I may get locked into that move, and on the lower time frame I may start trying to force that short. Maybe the short is still not there. Yeah, but that's I would consider kind of my B setups. Yeah, that will be my B setups. For example, something genuinely that I'm kind of proud of this move. For example, when I'm looking at this move, okay, there were 3 levels I was interested in selling. On the pound dollar, there were 3 levels the last month that I was interested in selling. Okay, I sold the top. Actually, the top actually is a good example because I got stopped out on the first one. Good example, actually. I'm not sure if I can get there. Can I get there? 1 second. I'm not sure if I have enough data. Yep, I cannot. Yes, I think I lost the first one. I'm not sure if it was in here or if it was trying to sell still a bit too early. Yeah, there you go. A little bit of FOMO in this case. I think I sold it when you saw this move to downside. I think I sold in here. Price still went up, stopped me out, and then I entered. Then I entered somewhere in here. Okay. Actually, I think it was actually quite higher, to be honest. Then I finally got the second entry, and price eventually went to target. I did close it too early, I have to admit. But that was the first level I was interested. The second level I was interested in trying to short, it was around this level. Okay, we had broken this low, price broke it. We had this double top. I liked it, and then it would be to look for this move a bit closer to this level. However, this move happened at 3-4 a.m. in the morning, and I didn't manage to get anything out of it. And to be honest, I was looking slightly higher, but there you go. That was the second level I was looking. The third level was here. I actually remember that one, which was again overnight. Right? I was looking to trade in here. This was another situation where price was quite exhausted. Actually, I wanted to go long in here, but with the Trump news, price moved, and I kind of lost my interest in taking any trading here. I was looking for a long, but that was when Trump threatened to fire Jerome Powell. We had the move. Maybe there was an opportunity to enter in here, but because we had broken these lows, I was still a bit more bearish at this point. So I was still expecting venture pound to continue to go down. So I ended up not taking the second retracement to this level. But this was the other level that I was looking for. Another level that I was looking for, it was in here. Price was compressing, started to compress, started to lose momentum. Has been trading to the upside for a full week. And again, it was overnight. I didn't really manage to catch the move. 4 a.m., 6 a.m., whatever. We had taken this low. Now, from here, to be honest, I was not expecting price to come all the way back. I think I was more of expecting price to retrace, and eventually I was looking for price to come back into this level to look for that bigger reversal. But yeah, price apparently just sold off from there. And my next level that I was interested to trade, it was basically where price was now. Eventually, I was looking to see price getting closer to this level, and actually wanted to see price taking the low before moving higher. So yeah, those basically the extremes that I was just trading. I'm looking for on the pound. I ignored absolutely everything else. I had zero interest in trading anything else on the pound. I'm buying. Actually, I was trying to sell in there as well on Monday, but price never really got my entry. I was trying to sell it in here, to be honest. After I saw the break, but price never really got me a retrace back there. But this will be a B setup, more of a continuation, not exactly my style. The other ones would be more close to my A+, what I was looking for. Yeah, maybe price can still react from there in the future, who knows. Yeah, but that's something that I'm proud of myself in that regards. Kind of the levels, it goes in alignment exactly what I want to, what the trader that I am, the contractor and trader that I am, and waiting for those levels. Yeah, now I do need to work on holding or trying to see if actually there's that opportunity to look for more. When you did create this top in here, I was not really 100% sure that price was ready to be the top. I like where price reacted on the left, so we had this supply level that was fresh too. Yeah, but it was too early for me to find out that this is actually the top, and price was ready to completely sell off from there. Yeah. So looking at the N pairs, I think the N index now is okay to continue to push higher. And yeah, I'm going to be looking for a little bit more of a move to the upside. We already took this, we're about to, so let it get closer to this next structure. And then of course we do have this one as well. Price can bounce from. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to follow. We can look at the dollar yen. This was the other guy's trade, it's not mine. Yeah, good reaction on the left side on the dollar yen. Actually, let me just jump into here. This is where I want to do the analysis. Yeah, good reaction, and I'm looking for price to get closer to this lows, and then we'll see what we have. And of course, you may have some reaction from this demand zone. For example, this maybe not a bad level on the week. yeah, maybe not as a bad one. We can have a bounce from here, depending on how price approaches. But eventually it could go all the way. And when looking at a higher time frame, it's actually kind of a nice zone, and price even can even go further down as well. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, may have this level somewhere in here that price may wants to come back, retrace, and move. Yeah, it's a tricky situation. XAUUSD was a nice one. Jesus, XAUUSD was a nice one, I have to admit. Even this quasi-mode on top, and then now this move, the XAUUSD, I didn't really focus too much on it, but when looking at the chart, this is a really nice move. Even this quasi-mode, this is a really nice move. That's a really nice move. Yeah, I've been waiting actually. I've been waiting all this time for price to go slightly higher. It never went. It never went above this top. Kept prospecting it. I was looking for the other one. Yeah, somewhere around here may have a reaction or may have a bounce. So yeah, maybe something to pay attention. And as a continuation, maybe just retracing back. Yeah, maybe just retracing back into here. Maybe have a continuation. Euro yen is one that was been in my radar. I wanted to go higher. Definitely want to go higher to look for potential quasi-mode in here. Not exactly yet at the moment to do that. Nice fake out of this structure. Basically everything in here was compressed until then, and price is finding a little bit of support at this level. It's going to be interesting to see how price may react, if it wants to go higher or now if it actually wants to do the full continuation, and eventually, who knows, in the future may go there. The bigger picture, yes, we are reacting from the top in there, so yes, we can maybe actually continue. And if you take this low, yeah, if you start taking this low, I think we can go eventually towards closer to this next zone. Yeah, now we will see. We did manage to take this up slightly, so that's interesting. I take the trend line spread series because they really work a lot as well. Yeah, trend lines are nice. I like to. It's not something that I pay too much attention, but I like to use them because I know that they are important. I don't know, something like this, okay, and eventually start to seeing them being broken. That can be an interesting. Yeah, this is actually a great example. This is actually a great example of the way I would be looking at trend lines. Okay, I think it's quite obvious. We have a few reactions, maybe 1, 2, maybe eventually 3, a few in here. Price getting really close. Another one in there. Another one in there. And eventually we do have the break. Now, when you do see this break, and this is actually a great example of it, of a type of setup that I look for, people are starting to look for shorts. And you can see how many people try to short in here, try to short in there, try to short in there as well, even in here as well, close to this top. So many people try to short after that break, even if maybe extend the trend line. Maybe you can even see that price actually retested the trend line in there. And everyone else is placing their stop losses in here. Like every single trader in here, between break of structure, trend line, everything else, they're placing their stop loss exactly above this top. We have a double top as well. So you are calling every trade to start shorting. The break of structure, double top, triple top, break of trend line. Maybe even the RSI is too expensive at this point. Maybe moving averages as well. Maybe start breaking in here. So everyone is starting to literally be attracted to look for a short. And all of a sudden you have one last push, one last expansion that now leads into that sell-off. and that's where I like to trade. Is this move? Is attracting every single person into shorting in here, then trap them into getting stopped out, and when now everyone thinks that price is now finally ready to go up again, that's actually when I like to short it, or getting to the reversal. So yeah, that's where patience comes into place. If I was shorting in there, it depends. Okay, let's pretend this a 15 minutes time frame and not exactly a 1 hour or daily time frame. One of the targets, at least 2 to 1, 3 to 1, I'll start taking a little bit of profit, and then I'll be looking for this potential low. But if this low already broke structure, which most likely did already, I'm expecting already price to eventually go below this low. I'm not expecting this low to hold price anymore, and which means that now I'm going to be looking for the next level, either in here or eventually start looking further down. So in this particular case, if this was kind of a 5 minutes time frame chart, yeah, from trying to sell somewhere in there, so post in there, so first target maybe close to this structure, and then just in case price actually doesn't really want to create the top already in here, that's why I like to take some profit in there already. At this point, I'm not expecting this level to hold anymore. I'm looking for that down. This is actually a great example of an opportunity that I'll be all over. And also when you're looking left, like when you're looking left, price is literally reacting from a really nice level as well. So we have everything in here. We have the left side, we have the approach, we have the compression, we have the manipulation, or kind of the structure, and then you have the fake out into top. You even have this type of a move as well. Again, yeah, this was like 6 a.m. in the morning or something like that. Because even in here, that's actually great PA. I was not at my desk at that moment. It's great. Yeah, a simple setup that you can look at is when you do have that structure. Okay, it's basically something that we're having here. Start using the trend line after the creation of this wall. Okay, many times or sometimes we actually start having kind of this move, something exactly like we're having here. We have now an expansion, and you can look for the trade if you want to. This is actually kind of a great way to use the trend line. After you have all this, that you can trap into it. Of course, you can look for the breakout structure itself, not just the breakout trend line, but it's actually quite a useful way to look for that setup. Of course, it is not going to be so much close to the extreme, but it's still going to eventually provide a great risk reward, and your target can be close to this level. This is starting to be a long stream. Pound yen. Pound yen is another great move that happened. What a move. What a beautiful. Which you're taking out the fake outs in here. Reaction from that supply. It just dropped. And yeah, looking for maybe the next structure. This was a beautiful move as well. And on pound yen. That's incredible. Okay, it's not something that I'm going to be trading. And then the Avarcad, this was one that I was also tracking. You can see the compression, kind of the big trend line, the big move to the upside, price approaching a good level. We kind of talked about that actually during the live stream, that you wanted to see price taking this top, end up reacting from that one. Could even go there as well, but this was already kind of an interesting supply. Can see the compression as well, price. So then no surprise that price will just smash it all the way through. And it's another one that price never really took the top. I just kept respecting it. Why did I sell $0? Why did I go long on euro-dollar? So, yes, nice move. Target close to the structure, so that's a nice one. And you'll see what will happen next. Then you have dollar franc Swiss. This was another one. At this point, yeah, sorry. Dollar franc Swiss. What a beauty. Again, a beautiful supply. Beautiful supply. What we have again, a range being created. Maybe potential some breaks in here, even break of this low. Another range, try to sell, sell, sell. This is another thing that I like to see, kind of breaks the low just before it goes up and then sell off. Another one that respected the structure, never broke it. I was actually looking at this one and I didn't trade it. I took the trade on the wrong one. Massive move, and it can continue. Similar to the dollar, may continue to go a little bit further down, to be honest. Who knows now? Yeah, that's it, guys. This is 2 hours of stream already. Yeah, this one looked like a great example, very clear one. Yeah, you can study them. You can study dollar franc Swiss as well, quite good. Okay, so basically, I think I actually defined the other day the type of trades that I want to look for. Okay. How did I define it the other day? So I want to see, so price is going up. I want to, the type of trade, so I'm a pure counter trend trader. And I want to sell. Okay, I think I got it. I want to sell when everyone that everyone that is interested in selling. So price now is, everyone in here is interested in selling because of this break of structure. Okay, maybe this break of trend line as well. So everyone is trying to sell it in here, and I want to sell when everyone that is interested in selling here is no longer interested in selling and actually are interested in buying. So when these guys finally now are interested in buying, that's when I want to actually to sell. Yeah. So basically, when this all these initial sellers want to be turning bullish again, that's when I want to sell. So I need to wait for this to happen. Like I need to wait for everyone in here to be attracted into selling. That's kind of the definition of what I try to look for. And then it's waiting to see this type of moves happening on the right spot. It goes here. Yeah, that's basically what I like to look at. Okay, guys, thank you. It's great to have some people in here. So Jimmy, fantastic. Thank you very much. Hybrid, fantastic as well. Thank you very much for joining. Brija Mohan as well. Trading Box, as always. Yeah, it's great. And even Coquetto with this beautiful Leonardo DiCaprio picture, and JST. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, actually, I'm starting this week a little bit more in expectation to see what price is going to do. If there's going to be some kind of momentum from last Friday, or if we're going to start having a little bit of an imbalance. I'm not eager to take any trade or jumping into any trade on Monday. I was more eager last week in trying to short the euro pairs. Unfortunately, once again, it happened overnight. This time, I'm a bit more patient, and maybe there are more opportunities on the not so main pairs. Maybe Euro CAD, maybe Euro Aussie, maybe I don't know, Pound CAD. Maybe those are going to be the pairs where we may have some opportunity, to be honest. Yeah, nothing interesting in here neither. Yeah, maybe those ones. Maybe Euro Pound. Euro Pound maybe is one, actually Euro Pound is one that may be getting closer to a level where I may find something tomorrow. Yeah, maybe Euro Pound is going to be on my radar for tomorrow. May have some reaction in there. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, welcome, Jimmy. You are free to come back next Sunday again. And in September, or starting in September, I want to start doing more things after I come back from holidays. I may start doing more stuff in this channel as well. Yeah, doing something more regular. But yeah, thank you. Have a good rest of your weekend. I still have a few things to do. You did this once a week only? At this point, yes. At the moment, yes. Then I do the other things with the Fivers. On my personal, I do need to become a bit more, maybe more regular. I do have morning calls with some traders, but that's not on YouTube. Yeah, I do morning calls with some traders, with some guys. That's not on YouTube. That's kind of paid. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I saw you there. That's where I recognize you. All right. Thank you. Bye bye. I'll see you during the week or next Sunday. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.